It's official. My rose-colored glasses are smashed. Did you guys know that the formula industry actively lobbies against federal paid maternity leave and parental leave because it would increase breastfeeding rates and decrease formula sales? And if it couldn't get worse, it does. Did you know that the US actively prevents formula regulation in other countries to help pad the pockets of these major formula producers at the expense of literal babies unaliving? I don't know why I'm even surprised anymore. Now, this is on a global scale, so buckle up and watch till the end so you understand the depth of what we're up against here. Buckling up. So let's take a look at the numbers. How bad has it gotten? A March 2024 report just came out showing that baby food and formula has one of the highest inflation of any consumer goods. In fact, in the last 2 years, formula prices have increased by 25%. The reason for this was exposed largely during the formula crisis, if you remember a couple years ago, when all the shelves were completely out. Much like the diaper industry that is largely controlled by a duopoly, the formula industry has been so consolidated that 90% of all American-made formula is created by 4 companies. This tweet from the World Health Organization really illustrates the corruption in the formula industry well, with misleading claims, harmful lobbying, and divisive tactics. Let's break it down. A World Health Organization backed study shows that Big Formula is using marketing tactics to prey on new parents. This part is so interesting. As someone who spent so much extra money looking for the top shelf organic formula for my kids, by law, all formulas have to have the same core ingredients. So doctors say here that there is no proof that one formula will have better outcomes for your child than the next formula. It's all a marketing ploy. Formula manufacturers make claims like formula helps the baby sleep through the night or increase their intelligence, all claims that are not scientifically proven at all. As a woman who lost a promotion because I told my company I was pregnant, this next one really grinds my gears. While formula companies use gender politics to market formula as an empowering solution for women who want to work, they actively lobby against federal paid leave in America. Why, you ask? Because there is an extremely close correlation to when women have to go back to work and when they stop breastfeeding their children. And while 1 in 4 women in America go back to work just 2 weeks after giving birth, the lack of safe spaces to pump in the workspace and store their breast milk makes it just not really viable to breastfeed. And now listen, this is not a place for a breast is best, a fed is best, bottle best. Women are shamed no matter what they choose. Call me crazy, I just don't think our society should be set up in a way that forces women not to be able to breastfeed. With the insane amount of data and knowledge that we have on the benefits of breastfeeding for both mom and baby. But instead, we're up against $7 million in lobbying dollars from Abbott Laboratories. From my Dexter? From Abbott Laboratory in 2016. So let's dive into potentially what's the worst part of all of this, and let's look at the impact that it's having on a global scale. What happened was in the 1970s, there were reports of thousands of infants in first and second world countries that were dying from drinking formula. And when these countries' governments started stepping in and implementing regulations around these formulas, US worked closely with the formula industry to wage a global campaign against formula regulation in all of these countries. This meddling broke into the public eye in 2018 when officials from the Trump administration were found to be threatening governments that were trying to implement formula regulations like Ecuador. The United States threatened to withhold military aid and implement trade restrictions. But this is not a new battle. We have been battling this since 1981, a recent economic research study showing that 66,000 infants died in low and middle income countries because of formula misleading information. So activists in the late 70s, early 80s actually implemented a boycott against Nestle, one of the biggest formula makers at the time, still is today. Because this is what happens when our politicians are paid to make decisions based on what's best for these big corporations. When it comes to misleading the public about what's healthiest for our children, and governments are actively supporting that to help pad their bottom line so it'll trickle down for our economy, which is not happening. And our government is actively preventing regulations around these companies to help pad their bottom line. Call me crazy, but I just think our society should be structured in a way that's best for the well-being of our people and not for what's best for the bottom line of our companies and corporations.